Hello everybody, and welcome to Cozy Corner ASMR. I am in a vastly different area right now. I decided today I want to do more of like a topic heavy video, and I wanted to be out of my closet. So this is my bedroom, and I just thought this would be a fun way to just talk and hang out and put me in the background, put me somewhere. I love listening to people talk as I'm working or slowly getting up in the morning, and I wanted to make a video that was in that range. So, first things first, if you saw the title, you obviously know what this video is about, and I've been noticing a lot of ASMR artists recently either quitting ASMR, or they are taking a break, or people just disappear. And I wanted to really talk about this issue in the community because I have been listening and watching ASMR for many years now, almost a decade at this point, and I've been creating content for a while actually, even though I've been creating content consistently for the last 7-8 months. I've actually been on YouTube for probably 4 years now, making different types of content and videos. And I wanted to talk about my personal experience with making ASMR and speculations on what might be happening with a few ASMR artists that we see taking a step back. And I've talked about this in a previous video because Fast ASMR took her final video this year. And since then, and maybe it's just my algorithm, but I have been seeing so many people also quitting ASMR. And yeah, so that's basically what I want to talk about. Totally interested in your opinion. If you agree with me on some of my viewpoints, or if you don't, I would love to hear from you. Alright, so first things first. I noticed a lot of my favorite ASMR artists, and typically those were the very small, they didn't really make it to the millions, but they were a very small channel like me. They tend to leave and disappear and never come back. And I think this is a very big issue in the community, and not even ASMR. I think in YouTube in general, some YouTubers just quit and they never say anything, and I completely understand from a content creator's perspective. If you want to drop, like, no excuses, no goodbye, like, if your life is truly in turmoil and you just cannot fathom being on YouTube anymore, totally okay to drop. I do think in instances where it is a burnout situation, or where it's a situation where the creator just really wants to take a step back but might come back, I think in those scenarios it's really important to tell your community. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because we developed this community on YouTube, and I think just going away and never coming back is really difficult. We're forming these bonds and relationships on the internet, and we just kind of go away. I don't necessarily think that that's a really good way to end a channel. Recently, ASMR Fleur, who I've actually started watching, I didn't watch her previously, but I started watching her, I want to say about 4 or 5 months ago. she did a really good job of, instead of posting a video, she just created a text post, put it in her community, and said, hey, I'm going. I think that was a really great way to do it. You don't always have to film videos, but you can always just say goodbye in that way. From what I've noticed, I think ASMR Fleur has come back. I haven't watched her most recent videos, but yeah, I mean, it's okay to change your mind too. So, on to another part of this topic is, why are ASMR artists burning out? From my personal experience, when I first started this channel 4 years ago, I was one of the artists that created content and then I left and disappeared and had no wording about it. Honestly, I only had 16 subscribers, so I don't know if anyone was truly missing me, but I could have said something. The reason why I left was not only because I was putting myself to a very high standard, because I was comparing myself to these really big ASMR artists. I left because I was having a really hard time scheduling myself. And I don't know if anyone really notices this about ASMR content creators, because I actually personally didn't when I listened to ASMR, but now that I'm making ASMR, I notice it a lot more, is ASMR artists love putting themselves on schedules. So I'm visiting these other ASMR artists and I see new upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or new upload every week, or new upload, every day or whatever. I don't know. I've actually never seen someone do every day, but God help their soul, I think that's insane. But I think we really need to restructure how we consume ASMR. I don't think it needs to be on a schedule. For those of you that have been following me, you've probably noticed I started on a schedule. I think I was uploading once a week, and then it became twice a week, and then it became once a month, and now it's honestly whenever I want to, because this is really something for me to be creatively intertwined and also share things and share this environment and space with you guys. So I can understand from an ASMR artist posting weekly, you're trying to get ahead with the algorithm, you're trying to make more subs, maybe you're trying to make this a full-time thing, and I can't necessarily speak from experience on full-time ASMR because I'm not a full-time ASMR content creator, but from a viewer and from an audience member, I don't actually mind when ASMR artists do not post weekly or monthly, actually. I actually am feeling quite the opposite of what ASMR artists, I feel like, assume I would feel as a consumer of their content. When I see an ASMR artist posting a lot, and there are some artists I know that post a lot, although I love seeing them, I think less is more. I think when I see a video from an ASMR artist, especially a new video, every day or every other day, I actually get fatigued from seeing them on my recommended. And that might just be me, but it doesn't entice me to watch more of your content when it's just being pushed out all the time. I think for myself, I love consuming new content, going back to older content, and then feeling happy when I see this artist coming out with another video a bit a ways from when they recently uploaded. Because it makes me feel like seeing an old friend, right? Instead of, I see everyone every day, I'm constantly like watching their content. The reason why a lot of ASMR artists are stopping YouTube, and there's many reasons. I think one of the main reasons is because of this putting yourself on a schedule. And not only for YouTube. As a new content creator, I am researching how different ASMR artists tend to their Patreon or tend to different ways to outsource their stuff. And I'm noticing it's even more. I think the other day I was looking at, I don't remember which ASMR artist this was, but she had a tier on our Patreon where you can be obviously a free member, or you can be kind of a mid-tier paid member, or you can be a gold member. And both the mid-tier and the gold members were getting like handwritten notes or handwritten drawings every month, or they were getting like personal messages every month. And I think that might be excessive. Truly, I think it is. I think if I really like a creator, regardless of what they're offering me, like in terms of that personable, I'm gonna write you a handwritten message every month, more than likely I'm not in it for that. I'm mostly in it because I want to support an artist. I have so many people that I support on Patreon because I deeply value their content, and I actually do not care that much about getting a handwritten card every month. I think if you want to go that route, maybe once a year actually makes more sense. But the standards that some ASMR artists are putting themselves in is way too high, and I don't think it's sustainable for an entire career. Assuming you're trying to make this an entire career and make it long term. I've also been really into JB's ASMR. She is one of the first ASMR artists I watched many, many years ago. And you can tell that she has outsourced so well. She has a team, she does have a schedule, but she also seems to take a lot more time to enjoy the process. And if she's not that into it, she's gonna make a video that she likes and not necessarily a video that every audience member likes, right? And I don't know JB personally, but that's just what I am seeing from her content. It's not always what everybody wants, it's what she truly likes and wants. And I also respect that she has a team behind her. I think that's a big thing, especially if you're a larger ASMR artist, having a more like corporate kind of structure behind you, even though your audience doesn't know about it, I think is super healthy. My next point is, why are content creators so afraid of taking breaks? And we kind of touched on this point in the beginning, but I think a lot of content creators, they're afraid of taking breaks because they don't want to miss out on the wave of the algorithm. The algorithm is really everything. And although our fans are a lot, they mean a lot to us, I really do think that this feeling of being left behind by the algorithm, YouTube pushing your content out or not, is a really big bystander in how much a YouTuber is trying to upload and how much they're trying to create revenue from their YouTube videos. And this is more of like the technical, not necessarily pretty side of ASMR, especially if an artist is trying to become a full-time YouTube content creator. I personally, from what I'm seeing and looking at through researching other artists, is I don't think YouTube is a very good source of revenue, because the algorithm truly determines if you're going to get paid or not. And sometimes, actually all of the time, there's really no true way of knowing why or when the algorithm's going to push your videos. I've had instances where I make a video that doesn't necessarily do well for the first 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden it's now like one of my most popular videos. Why is that? It's because of the algorithm. And I think a lot of YouTubers are pushing content 3 times a week, 4 times a week, because they want to get ahead of the curve, or they want to make sure, oh, when it picks up, it's going to pick up at some point. And I don't think that's sustainable. I actually disagree with the YouTube upload culture. As I said before, we don't need to upload an excessive amount of videos. I genuinely think uploading whenever you feel comfortable is the best. I also think supporting YouTubers that you like on Patreon, whether it be for free or paid, is way better if you want to make sure that content creator stays around. And this is specifically for people that you genuinely like. I support a lot of content creators on Patreon because I know that, one, this is their full-time job, and two, I consume so much of their content that it just benefits them way more if I am supporting in some way outside of YouTube. And it brings me to maybe my last point. Should ASMR stay on YouTube? Should that be the only place ASMR should be consumed? I remember many years back, there was an application, I totally forgot what it was called, but it was just ASMR. You had content creators upload to this app. They can get gifts on this app. They can get, like, people can gift them things while they watch, and then they can rank who the top ASMR artist is of the week or something like that, and give more exposure to ASMR artists that people actually like, and create that algorithm versus just the randomness of YouTube. I believe, and don't quote me on this, but that app actually got turned down because it was not being truthful in supporting the ASMR artists. I also remember GB was trying to make an application. I think it was in 2018. Oh my goodness, I don't remember. It's so long ago. But she was trying to make an app where I believe it was like $14 a month, or maybe like a little bit more. It was a really smart idea of hers, by the way. I remember loving it because what she wanted to do was very similar to the app that came out, and she wanted to support the ASMR artists in a very more structured way than YouTube, right? But unfortunately, the price of the app was kind of creating this negative effect in the community. I remember she announced it and she pushed it out, showed the price, and people were not happy with the price. And I don't think she ever revisited that application back again. She said she was going to, and then she didn't. And I think it was because it was not sustainable for the amount that they wanted to charge. And so I say this to instill some ideas in the community, or maybe even someone out there that has an idea. What would it look like if ASMR can be outsourced in a different type of application that allows artists to not feel so pushed by the algorithm when making content? Would this actually be sustainable for people to continue being ASMR artists full-time? Or would it be actually more sustainable to just make a community with ASMR? And it also brings me to another point. The ASMR community is changing. a lot of ASMR artists, especially the older ones, like Fast ASMR, are leaving the community not necessarily because they're burnt out, but also because they're feeling the shift in the community. And I want to ask you, do you feel this shift if you've been in the community for such a long time? I know we have a lot more like faster ASMR, very trigger heavy, almost like for, you know, if you have ADHD, you just want to be, you know, fixated on something and new things over and over again, this novelty. But I remember when ASMR started, if you remember Heather Feather, or actually, I think there was another artist, I forgot what her name was, but if you remember those artists, it was really about trying to understand and experience what this feeling was, what ASMR actually was, and trying to understand the triggers and figure out what works for you and your audience. I think maybe pushing for an application or something that can help the community might be better. As personally, I think YouTube is ruining ASMR. It's a very controversial thing to say, and totally let me know if you disagree. But I think YouTube is becoming this kind of soup bowl of so many different types of videos, and you know, we can get an ASMR artist one day, and then we can get a totally different type of content the next. In terms of what's recommended to us, and that algorithm is really running our lives. YouTube used to be a place where you searched a video that you wanted to watch, you found it, and you watched it. And now YouTube is turning into a place where I go on this website and it decides for me what I want. And I think that is why YouTube is it's just really hard to make content on here. Genuinely, I doubt that this video is going to make it into some of your devices, because it's so different from my original content, and it's very, in my opinion, kind of controversial. It's a very controversial thing to talk about because not that many people are talking about this, and that's why I wanted to make a video, is because I haven't actually heard many people reacting to this big surge of ASMR artists leaving. And this is kind of bringing it all back to what I was saying before, is this year I've noticed a lot of ASMR artists leaving, but I think the positive that we can take out of it is that they're actually announcing themselves leaving, or they're being honest about what they want. I remember talking about Jubilee Whispers, an ASMR artist I really, really love, and she, instead of burning out, quitting, leaving, she was really, really honest with her audience, and she said that she's not going to upload once a week anymore, twice a week. She's going to upload when she wants to. And I think that is where we should lay as content creators of ASMR, is uploading when you want to. If this is something where it's a full-time job, I think in that way, maybe trying to understand where you can outsource that doesn't rely on the algorithm, which is, again, Patreon, and maybe there are other places. But I think it really, really would help with that. But I also think that whenever there's an ASMR artist that posts, oh, I can't do a video this week, or oh, sorry guys, I'm taking a break, I am not upset about it. You know, I'm not like, oh no, this person, I was so looking forward to their video. Like, I'm so disappointed. And just think for you for a second. If you're an ASMR artist, do you feel that way when an ASMR artist says, oh, I can't make a video this week? Because at the end of the day, you have a lot of content. There's so much that people can watch of you if you're making a lot of videos. And I think it's totally okay to take a break. I think it's totally okay to make things when you want to make things, because what's going to happen is your quality of your videos are going to get so much better. Also, shorts. I mean, if you want to post something but you don't want to take a long time for production or editing, make short form content. I think it's a really great way to go. But again, I really think we need to rethink how we're making content and what the future of the community looks like for ASMR. But that's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you guys think. I did ramble for a little bit. If you agree with some of my points or if you disagree, I really want to hear from you. If you make ASMR, I would love to hear from you, and I would love to get your viewpoints on maybe what the direction of ASMR is going in. And even though I'm a super duper small channel, I have been a long time listener of ASMR. So yeah, just take my word with a grain of salt. So thank you so much for joining in, and hopefully I can make more content like this where it's just kind of us talking, but I'm sure my next video will be back in the closet doing triggers as usual. Thank you so much. Have a good one.